A second stimulus package deal will be reached as early as today and signed by the president shortly thereafter, claims Mitch McConnell in news statements breaking minutes ago. Mitch McConnell says that a second stimulus deal package is literally about to happen, that the president, when asked about it at the White House minutes ago, said that he will sign it and it will become a law. However, and yes, there is a however, the deal provisions are expected to be only what is called a down payment on what is expected to be a massive stimulus package about no less than 4 weeks later. That massive stimulus package is expected to have all the deal provisions that the viewers of this channel and I have fought for months, but the stimulus package you're expected to hear in the next 24 to 48 hours may not have the deal provisions that you are happy about unless you're of certain particular issues. So let me go over what's going on today, and thank you for joining me as there's no less than 300 people in the room right now on a special broadcast of Holidays LALATE Live. Sorry that I was a little bit late. I was actually getting the LALATE Christmas tree, which you'll see over upcoming reports on this channel as I show you how to bring holiday decor in the home during the holiday season. And yeah, it is warm here in LA, so hope you are good and safe. This is a special live broadcast of Holidays LA with breaking details about your second stimulus check, your second stimulus package, and what we now know will be a third stimulus package in January. Let me recap where we are today. Currently, there is negotiations underway for stimulus in the continuing resolution, the budget bill that has to be signed by December 11th. The stimulus bill standalone efforts of certain people is no longer the issue. So we're no longer dealing with that attempt by certain people to do a separate stimulus bill. Rather, all we're talking about now is stimulus in the continuing resolution, which is a budget bill to fund the federal government by December 11th. Late yesterday, Joe Biden said that he has told his Democratic colleagues, aka Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Steny Hoyer, to do a basic deal right now, but this is only a down payment on what he's going to do in the next few weeks as a massive stimulus bill. So as you sit here right now, understand the following. Checks will be coming in January. SSI, SSDI, $2,400 and a 20% increase and a new benchmark coming in January. Hazard pay coming in January. EIDL, grants for frontline workers, all in January. But as you and I sit here tonight, or today, afternoon, can't remember what time of day it is, no one is in the room negotiating for us. Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi actually met and negotiated the deal provisions minutes ago. Her press secretary just confirmed to news. And the president of the United States, when asked about the situation in the White House, says, I'm ready to sign any deal they reach. But no one is fighting for you and me. And so they, one, do not have a stimulus check in what they're trying to negotiate for right now. Two, they do not have all the deal provisions that we would hope for. But let me explain the following third caveat. And I want to make it very, very clear so no one misconstrues anything. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell is being very close-lipped on what are the deal provisions right now. And they fully admit that deal provisions are not what we've heard in the last 24 hours. So there is potentially a stimulus check in there, but potentially not. I'm going to tell you why. When they met minutes ago, Mitch McConnell said that he listened to what Nancy Pelosi wanted, and Nancy Pelosi said she listened to what Mitch McConnell said. Mitch McConnell says, I want liability insurance. Nancy Pelosi, and you don't have it in your bill. Nancy Pelosi says, I want state and local, and you don't have that in your bill. If you're seeing where this conversation's going, when Mitch and Nancy were talking, no one was saying, you don't have checks in your bill. I want checks in my bill. I was not in the room, and so I was not saying to them, hey, there's no checks for millions of Americans. Where's the checks in there? So when two people were talking about what they wanted in there, no one in the room was saying, I want checks in there. After the conversation, Mitt Romney had a press conference. He said that they're working on the deal provisions. And again, he didn't say that I want checks in there. And then when the president was asked in the White House what's going on, he says, I'm ready to sign any deal. He did not say I'm urging for checks in there as well. So there are certain provisions that certain people are fighting for, but no one, and I'm not going to make this, I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. Democrats, Republicans, President, President-elect, Congress, Senate, House, no one is fighting for a stimulus check for you. And yes, it's horrifying, as Hugh Smith just said. It is horrifying. It's really horrifying that, and it's crazy, as Dwight just said. It's crazy. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this at all, but I will say to you that Joe Biden said that this is a down payment for what he's going to do in January, and that January is going to be a very big bill. And Joe Biden has written in writing 3, 4, 5 times that it will include stimulus checks in January. He has said that. Now, we understand that President Trump has said he's going to give you a stimulus check every month since June. And President Trump is sitting in the White House today and not urging a stimulus check in this. So the question is, why do people always say they're going to give us a stimulus check, and then when it gets to a bill, there's no stimulus check in there? This is really hell, said Hugh Smith just right in the comment. Big businesses, Alan. Yes. So let me go over what elements in here help some viewers. Let me explain what elements in here help some viewers, because ultimately I do have viewers who are on unemployment. I mean, I do have people who are on unemployment that need unemployment money. I do have people that are shop owners that are about to lose their business. So I do have to answer to everyone, and I do have viewers on SSI. So let me start by my viewers on SSI, SSDI, and Social Security and Railroad benefits. You and I certainly knew that your $2,400, your 20% increase, and your new benchmark would never be in the CR. It's not supposed to be in the CR. It's supposed to be a standalone bill. So that is in January. So stay with me on that. The $2,400 is not going to come in the month of December, but would come in January. So let's stay with the SSI and SSDI. That would be standalone. Next, let me turn to everyone for stimulus checks. Multiple stimulus checks. Joe Biden has written he's giving you multiple stimulus checks. He's going to give you as many checks as he needs to get through you to the end of the pandemic. Now, Nancy Pelosi clearly is doing things differently since Joe Biden has become a president. Thank goodness. She has done things in a total different way, so it clearly indicates that Joe Biden is calling the shots of the Democrats. Thank goodness. So will Joe Biden give you multiple stimulus checks? He has said he's going to give you multiple stimulus checks. When would the multiple stimulus checks start? How many will they be? Those would start in January. How much would they be? Well, Vice President-elect Harris said $1,200 doesn't cut it, so it would have to be $2,000. Otherwise, she would just basically be stepping on her, putting a foot in her mouth. She said $1,200 doesn't cut it, so you would presume multiple stimulus checks of $2,000 every month starting in January is what the Biden-Harris team wants, because she said that and he said it. Next, hazard pay, January. Then, how about FPUC, PUA, and UI? This is where we get a little complicated at the 8-minute mark. So stay with me on this UI, PUA, and FPUC. This is where we're a little complicated. First of all, under all these proposals right today that are expected to get to a deal and a bill and a law, they are all going to extend your PUA and your UI. So my viewers who are on UI, unemployment assistance, and pandemic unemployment assistance, your benefits will not stop. Your benefits will not stop. So the viewers who are asking, I'm running out of weeks, I've run out of weeks, or my state has said I've stopped losing weeks. When will I get my additional weeks? You will get your additional weeks of PUA, as Craig List just said. PUA, nice. Yes, Alan, PUA, yes. You will get your PUA. So let me explain this very simply. If you are in a state in which you are on PUA and your PUA just stopped, See, Tori said my UI expires in 2 weeks. What can I do? So let me explain. This is going to be for both my UI and my PUA viewers. Um, if you're on UI and PUA and it has already expired, let's say this week or last week, don't worry. You will get the weeks that expired just last week, and they will carry you to at least January 30, the end of January to 2021, the end of next month. I'll say that again. If you're on UI and PUA and your weeks already expired in the last 2-3 weeks, they will put you back onto PUA and UI, and you'll continue all the way to the end of next month. Next, if your UI or PUA is set to expire, it will no longer expire. So your UI and PUA will continue all the way to the end of January 2021. Question, do I have to do anything? You don't have to do anything. So if you've lost UI or PUA weeks automatically, yes, you don't have to do anything for UI or PUA. What you do have to do, and this is so important, and I remember one viewer telling me this 4 months ago and always telling me, remind the viewers, you need to ensure you certify for your benefits every week. So you have to keep on signing into your unemployment website and look and see if the week is available to certify. So what if my PUA ended a month ago? Then don't worry, it will then you will then be able to sign back in your account, and you'll suddenly see the weeks starting from when it expired. Now we're talking about PUA and UI. I'm confused if UI is in the middle of a PEUC. So what's important to understand is that when we're talking generally about people's UI expiring, what we mean is that people had already gone from their state weeks and then they were now on to federal FPUC. And so what's important to understand is that your FPUC was set to expire in late December. In some viewers, it's already expired. But what's important to understand is you are not going to lose a week of UI or PUA under these proposals. Hopefully this is clear. Certify for every week when you see them available in your portal. You don't have to do anything, but you do have to go in and make sure you certify for the week. So just keep on signing in, and your state will say, hi, because the law has passed, you can now certify for your weeks of benefits, and your weeks of benefits are in there. Hopefully that's clear. Why don't you ask me a couple questions right now about the UI and PUA if you have questions about what I've said so far. Not FPUC, just ask me about the UI and PUA. So hopefully that is PUA is retroactive. Yeah, I mean, in a way it's called retroactive. So if you've lost a week of PUA because of the problems of Congress, you're going to get those weeks that you missed. So they are for sure extending PUA. Absolutely. All these proposals from Mitch to the moderates, I don't even know what you call these other people. They're all doing that. What does UI on hold mean? UI on hold means that you may have been losing weeks of your UI may have run out. Your weeks of UI may have run out. Thank you for explaining it well. I appreciate it. Gary from Boston. Well, I appreciate that. So is this law now? No, it's not law now. I will tell you when it's law. Trust me. I will be going live all the time. What is UI? Did they extend unemployment? Okay, great question. UI is my W-2 viewers. So PEUC is getting extended. Yes, that's my way of saying UI is getting extended. UI and PUA, aka PEUC and PUA, are getting extended. How far they're getting extended, at the moment, it looks like at least 1 month, but there we go. We don't have to worry about flip-flopping. Everyone has the same item in all their provisions. All right, now let's get to FPUC. Do you automatically have to switch from UI to PUA if your UI ends? Oh boy, now that's a really hard question. If your state switched you from UI to PUA, and you are now on PUA because your UI expired, I presume they're going to keep you on PUA. They're not going to bring you back to UI. But you don't have to switch anything. So there you go. So now let me go over FPUC. FPUC, as you know, goes on top of your PUA and UI. So how much FPUC are you going to get, and is it retroactive? Now, It appears that one, it's not going to be retroactive. Two, it appears as though it's just sort of all over the place, whether they want to do FPUC for a month or they want to do FPUC for a few weeks. What I believe is it's going to be very short term, because someone just asked the question, which I'm about to actually answer. I was about to get to this. Is that Joe Biden yesterday made it very clear. You know what? I want people to get FPUC for a few weeks, but in January, I'm going to do FPUC retroactive at $600 a week. So Joe Biden made it very clear, I'm just going to get you from now to mid-January, and in mid-January, I'm going to do you at FPUC retroactive $600 a week back. Now, I know you're going to say retroactive to what date? I don't know. I don't know if Joe's going to bring it back to July, which he should. I don't know if he's going to bring it back to September, which Nancy wanted. And I don't know if the Republicans are going to agree to $600 a week. But what Joe is saying is, someone said they're all liars. Yeah, I mean, yes, ultimately they got to get things approved. So Joe's contention is he's going to take care of your FPUC retroactive in January, and that he's going to give you bigger FPUC. So how much FPUC now in this emergency CR are you going to get? One of the proposals says $300 a week. Another one says $400 a week. Mitch talked about $300 a week. The moderates asked for $300 a week. My guess, this is my guess, and usually I'm good about this type of stuff, is that they're going to agree to $300 FPUC from now to the end of January, and it will not be retroactive. And in January, they're going to take care of the retroactive with more money, which is literally going to be an accounting nightmare. I just think it's going to be a hot mess express. PPP. They're going to give rich restaurant owners $2 million in PPP, so the rich restaurant owners can get $2 million in their hands. Isn't that really quite charming? Because both of them have PPP in there. And then finally, anything else for individuals. So far, they have nothing in here for eviction moratorium, and they have nothing in here for mortgage forbearance, and I don't know who's fighting for it. So as I started this recording, who's fighting for stimulus checks, who's fighting for mortgage forbearance, and who's fighting for, thank you, Franklin. Franklin just said, you saved my family, LALATE. What did I do, Franklin? Was it the CARES Act, or was it EIDL? $2 million for restaurants. Yes, they're going to do $2 million for PPP for restaurant owners, so they can get a nice $2 million check in their hands, and they're not going to give you mortgage forbearance or eviction moratorium or a stimulus check. Isn't that charming? Yeah, isn't that charming? So, and Donald Trump loves that. And Joe Biden loves that. I don't know what's going on here, but do you have to file a new claim by January for Biden's FPUC? No. Great question. So when we're doing, and this is why I'm here, I'm not going to be abandoning you. I'm not leaving here, because these things are going to be very complicated. Your FPUC would just go on top of automatically your UI and PUA. So you have to certify for benefits every week. If you don't certify for benefits the first week of January 1, and they are ready to pay you, then you're not going to get FPUC retroactive from Joe Biden if you had never certified for the week of benefits. So don't miss that. Sirloin is rolling over this. I don't even know if the cows are going to get the thing, because the moderates didn't want to give the cows the fish anything. So it's just, boy. So who has questions here? I'm sure you have 1,000 questions. And there were some questions. I'm here to help. I'm not receiving no more unemployment. Well, you would. So I won't get 23 weeks of back pay from my push. You would under Biden's January plan. LA for VP. Well, for president. So just join. Are we getting its check? No. They're proposing the check in January, and they're suggesting no check, no eviction protection, and no mortgage protection right now. I got $19,000. Wow. Congratulations. I got someone $19,000 in their UI. That's incredible. Can this be vetoed? Yes, but the president of the White House said minutes ago he will support it. So the president is going to say, have a nice Christmas and don't get a stimulus check. So, who else has question? Maybe Trump will be a hero and repurpose. No, Trump said he's not. He's going to sign whatever Mitch does. Is FPUC retroactive along with retroactive unemployment? They're going to do retroactive FPUC in January. Biden proposes at $600 a week. Am I on regular unemployment? Does this count for? I missed the remainder of that question. Oh boy, now it's really moving really fast. So how can Nancy go from $600 a week or nothing to $300 a week? It's a travesty, and I'll deal with that at the very end. It's absolutely a travesty. Where can I find rent help in Shelby, North Carolina? I'll cover CARES Act 1 stuff in a second. I receive PUA. Can I get anything else? No. So you would only get the relief you're getting under the proposal is PUA and UI extension. Is UI expiring? I just got here. Okay, so if viewers are just tuning in, let me explain what's going on right now. What's going on right now is that minutes ago, Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell actually met to negotiate, which is shocking, after she tried to go around him and not talk to him at all. Mitch McConnell said that his top priority is ensuring that liability insurance is in his bill. Nancy Pelosi said her top priority is staying local and that she wants it in her bill. Both of the sides wanted things that was not in the other side's bill. Neither side argued for stimulus checks and don't have stimulus checks in there. No one argued for eviction protection and no one has eviction protection in there. And no one argued for mortgage forbearance and no one has mortgage forbearance in there. Rather, what they argued for was for liability insurance and for state and local. And Cynthia's mad, and I agree, you should be mad. But what's important to understand is that Joe Biden last night said, get something done that's small, and I will take care of all of you in January. I will do the stimulus check in January, the hazard pay, the SSI, the SSDI, the EIDL, the EIDL grant. I will take care of the multiple stimulus checks in January. I will take care of all that then. You know what? Let's hope. I'm going to stay positive. I have never, when the President Donald Trump has told you you're going to get a stimulus check in June, July, August, September, October, I never sat back and said I don't believe him. I always said that's good that he's going to do that for us. Ultimately, we look back on how many times we were told by the current president we were going to get things and we never got it. I just hope that when Joe Biden promises to give us stuff in January, that we actually get it. So to recap, no stimulus check in the current proposal, but an extension of UI, an extension of PUA. And you'll also get under the current proposal FPUC, but potentially not retroactive at $300 a week. The PUA and the UI would be retroactive. The FPUC would not be retroactive. But as I sit here today at, it's about 1 o'clock on the West Coast, they could still change. So it's literally all over the place. When do you think we'll actually get our new FPUC? That's a great question. And what is FPUC? FPUC is that $600 a month that went on top of your UI and your PUA from March to June. When would you actually get it? I think you would, it takes about 30 days after it becomes a law. So if Joe Biden promises to give you $600 FPUC retroactive in January, you would never see it until at least February. What kind of gel hair do you use? I use, I don't remember, it's a green bottle. Their lack of response has backfired. God don't like it ugly. What do you say retroactive from what time? Joe Biden wants to do retroactive FPUC. Again, he has not said retroactive until what date. The PUA and the UI is retroactive under this thing that's going to get passed in the next 24 to 48 hours. And that would be until when it expired. So most of you may have lost UI or PUA in just the last week or two. None of you would have lost it in November. You generally lost it in December, or you're about to lose it. So this would protect you against losing it and give you the weeks that you lost in the last 1 or 2 weeks. I'm so angry, says Hugh. Rachel, are we getting the $300? So the $300 FPUC, currently it does not say it's FPUC is retroactive, but maybe they change. LA, what should we do now? What you should do now is really stay with me, because I'm going to be going live a little bit more today. uh, things breaking literally left and right. And so I may tape at 3 o'clock, and by the time you see the video at 4 o'clock, it may almost be irrelevant. So I'm trying to really stay with you. I may have to go live more often than I do. But what I want you to do is get that CARES Act 1 money. And I really want you to get that CARES Act 1 money. And I want you to keep the narrative on point of stimulus checks or shutdown. Hashtag stimulus checks or shutdown, as Travis Brooks just said. Make it very clear that this is a disgrace. It's really a disgrace, even though the hashtag says stimulus checks or shutdown. It is a disgrace that no one is giving you an eviction protection or a mortgage forbearance. Let me give you an example. Here in Southern California, in Santa Monica just 24 hours ago said we are extending the eviction protection moratorium for the 23rd time so that you are not evicted before, I think it's now February. So Santa Monica understands that people can't be evicted in the middle of a pandemic. Why can the federal government not understand it? So shut down, stimulus checks or shut down. Take this video and tweet it on Twitter. Tweet McConnell's press secretary. Tweet McConnell's communications director, and say, "Come on already! Give us a stimulus check, give us an eviction protection, and give us a mortgage forbearance." And literally, what are you doing here? I have no problem with Mitch McConnell, what Mitch McConnell wants. I have no problem with what he wants. I have a problem with what he's not giving us. And then Nancy Pelosi, so now at the 26-minute mark, I don't want to go too negative on you, but I really have to say the mathematics of Nancy Pelosi is a human tragedy. Nancy Pelosi was offered $400 a week in July by Steve Mnuchin. $400 a week in July by Steve Mnuchin. You know how many weeks it's been since July? 20 weeks. So you would have had $8,000 in your bank account. Now, as you sit here today, no one is giving you FPUC retroactive to July, and now she's accepting $300 a week when she, in May, said $300 a week was a joke when offered by Mitch McConnell. Now, when Joe Biden is the president-elect, she's rolling over and accepting $300, but not admitting fault in having declined $8,000 in your bank account. It's really awful. It really is awful. But the thing that I really do detest is the fact that there is no eviction protection. I have a lot of viewers that commonly remark, I'm about to lose my house or I've lost my house. I have viewers contacting me from Wi-Fi that are homeless, and they say, I can't access Twitter because I'm homeless. I have a government phone. There's no consideration for these people that are facing homelessness or are homeless by this administration, either Republican or Democrat. And this is why I think it's really a tragedy. Shut it down. Don't pay them. Amen. All right. Any more questions? She should have accepted the $1.9 billion bill. Yes, she should have. So what? It's not happening, is it? Well, certain things are happening now. Are people unemployment going to be seeing changes anytime soon? Yes. So if you were going to lose unemployment benefits, you would get additional weeks of unemployment benefits now to the end of January. So let me recap. As of now, and it could change in the next few minutes, what you're getting. At the moment, you would get more weeks of UI from now to the end of next month. You would not lose any weeks of unemployment. And if your unemployment has shot down because of lack of weeks, it would kick back up and you would start getting those weeks again. Same thing for PUA. FPUC, you would get $300 a week for FPUC, but it does not look like it's retroactive. So it looks like it's FPUC for like 4 weeks. So basically maybe $1,200 of FPUC. It's really not clear what they're doing. And that's about it for the viewers of this channel. Big business, $2 million for restaurant owners. Congratulations, $2 million for restaurant owners. Yesterday, as LA City, Mayor Garcetti decided that he's going to give a $500 check to employees at restaurants. I don't know what's with restaurants during this pandemic. Everything is a big bailout of restaurants. I'm a little sick of it. There's so many more industries in this country than restaurants. What about student loans? Nothing for student loans. When I'm not mentioning things, I literally am not mentioning because they aren't existing. And finally, the other items that may or may not float in there are, let me see. I think I got it all. Yeah, I think I got it all. The other things don't really concern you. It's just big government and big business. Hairdressers, what about their stimulus? And there you go. What I want you to understand is that there's CARES Act One money out there, and ultimately, thank you for the super chat just there. What I want you to understand is that there's CARES Act One money out there, and there is escalated benefits, and there is EIDL, as a piece of hair just flew in my face. Let me get to all that money right now because I want to get you money right now. Not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now. I want to get you money right now. And let's get to that in 1 second. Before that, let me talk a little bit about holiday decor. Just 2 minutes. Minutes ago, I bought the LALATE holiday Christmas tree. And what's important to do when you're buying a Christmas tree is the following things. One, when you get the Christmas tree, make sure they do a clean cut at the bottom to make sure it takes off any dead excess at the bottom of the Christmas tree. Second, when you bring the Christmas tree home, put it in the shade. Third, when you bring the Christmas tree home, leave it in the shade overnight and take a hose and spray the Christmas tree down with a hose. And then, if you have an extra bucket sitting around, put the tree in a bucket and leave it in the bucket overnight outside, so it gets the coldness of the outside, the dampness, the wetness from the watering down the tree, and keeping the tree in the cold water. That is one of the most important things about keeping a tree cold and crisp. Now, uh, and also, what's important to understand is when you're doing holiday decor, you can do things that are simple and cheap and carefree. You'll see some new purple in the background minutes ago, and a lot of this purple was added, and there was literally $1 an item, dollar here and dollar there. So very, very simple. All right, so now let's get to how to get this CARES Act One money and how to get escalated benefits and how to get EIDL. First, when you're looking for those CARES Act One money, what I want you to understand is that there's two things happening right now. First, in some cities, counties, and states, they're announcing grant programs that were not there just 24 hours ago. So New Mexico, San Diego County, Colorado, and I believe parts of New York are announcing grant programs under CARES Act One that were not there just a few days ago. So what's important to understand is you need to turn on the local news or watch your local news website on an app if you use a cell phone and see whether that information is there. What's important to understand is that I will detail the details when it comes out. For example, Houston, as example. Houston announced an enormous rent grant or stimulus check grant for its citizens. And that was announced minutes ago. Then the other thing to consider is that when you're looking at CARES Act One grants, that is your city, county, and state, it's important to understand that the CARES Act One grants may have been run out, but then there's private organizations that are jumping in and doing incredible stuff. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Kentucky are examples of states that people are getting rent grants in this channel, big rent grants, but not from the city, county, or state. Those organizations that are stepping up are religious or private organizations. And those organizations, the volunteers of this channel know and really can share that information with you. What's important to understand is that those rent grants are generally 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. And those grants are still available. Next, utility grants. Utility grants are across the board. And those utility grants are available in almost all states. What's important to understand is that those utility grants are available from both the utility companies and sometimes your local organizations. Finally, the most important thing is food. There's food grants nearly everywhere. So when you're looking, start from the rent grant, then you go to the utilities, and finally you go to the rent. Next, let's turn to escalated benefits. Escalated benefits is one of the most important things to understand that you can still get. Ultimately, it's important to understand that if there's a hater in the room, press the negative down button and send me a DM when you see the hater, and that person will be blocked by the end of the video. Bye, hater. What's important to understand is that when you're doing escalated benefits is more money than what these people in Congress are going to be doing for you. Escalated benefits is so simple. What you do is you take your 2019 tax return, and then with that 2019 tax return, you scan it or put it on your computer electronically, email it to your unemployment office and say, here, take a look at my 2019 tax return. I'm currently being paid this amount of money per week, and please see if I qualify for additional weekly benefits. Very simple. Viewers of this channel have gotten anywhere from not $5, $10, to $12,000 in escalated benefits. Finally, the final last thing to consider is EIDL. If you have questions about EIDL, drop them in the comments below. I might feature them in tomorrow's recording. Coming up next is Afternoon's Check. I'll have more about this and more, and stay with me because I may be going live more than usual. There's a lot of breaking developments across the board. There is some negativity in the room. That negativity will be banned. That viewer or person or hater will never be back in this channel again. And so ultimately, the important thing to understand is that as a community, we need to do this. We need to understand that there are certain people, as you saw, who are on unemployment benefits. We cannot discard those people who need those unemployment benefits. There are certain people who are on SSI. They need their SSI benefits, and they are really dependent upon that $2,400 SSI. And there's people who need a stimulus check, and they're here for that stimulus check. They need the stimulus check. Ultimately, we're all here to fight for all those things. And we should never say anything negative about another group because it's not our particular thing. So if you're a person on SSI and you don't get unemployment, do not be negative towards someone who really needs the unemployment benefits. If you're someone who is employed but also needs a stimulus check really bad, do not hate on someone who needs SSI and SSDI. That's the spirit of helping one another. If you have questions or need assistance in finding these CARES Act 1 grants, escalated benefits, and EIDL, it applies to virtually all of you. So follow the volunteers. They're at youtube.com/LALATE/community, and they're there to help. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and save LA for more.